it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Hello and welcome to Political Platform. My name is Amecha Nakwe. It's a Tuesday. The President Muhammad Buhari is expected to present the 2018 budget estimates to the National Assembly. A joint session of both chambers will be sitting 2 p.m. Nigerian time. Is the time. Of course, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, was at the National Assembly yesterday to cultivate the friendship of the leadership and indeed the members ahead of this ceremony. Of course, there were reports that members of the National Assembly were not happy with the presidency for their inability to release about 200 billion naira for constituency project, and they said they need to take something back to their communities, to their constituents in form of projects, and the failure or refusal of the executive to do that is one that will make them heckle or even boo the president ahead of course the presentation. But some troubleshooting exercise took place, and Boss Mustafa did what the man he replaced, the former or the sacked Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachi Alawa, did not do. He engaged with the National Assembly members instead of openly criticizing their quest for constituency project, and we believe that is the way to go. The SGF are accepting and saying that indeed there's no way the executive can succeed without the cooperation of the National Assembly. Okoye Obonobla was, of course, with the Vice President yesterday. He is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on prosecution, but was asked to step down as chairman of the Special Panel on Recovery of Public Assets, as announced by the Attorney General of the Federation. But we heard he had a meeting with the Vice President yesterday, and his status is still shrouded in controversy. We shall be giving you updates on Anambra State. We'll have our man on ground there, and we'll be joining him on phone. Adebayo Boduri is, as usual, with us this morning.
Yeah, Amishi, I think it's a sharing development. If you look at what Boss Mustafa did yesterday, he brought to bear his experience in politics from the the aborted Third Republic and up to this Fourth Republic. That is the way to go. There needs to be regular contact between the executive arm of government and the legislature. I've said on this program several times that one of the outstanding features of the Shehu Shagari administration was caucusing between the level of the executive and the legislature and the members of the then MPN lawmakers on one hand, and then the leadership of the then National Assembly with the executive on another hand. And it is facilitated a smooth sail of all issues that has to involve the two arms of government. And I think what he has done is very, very commendable and should be sustained. But there are two two very, very disturbing reports that emerged yesterday, and this has to do with a report coming from Jigawa State that and the media came up and said it's strange disease. There is no disease that is strange. It shows clearly when a government official comes out and they pronounce that this is a strange disease, it's an indication of the fact that we are still lacking behind terribly in terms of scientific and technological advancement. There is no disease that cannot be diagnosed. There is no disease that cannot be, you can't find out the nature of it. And at the end of the day, it was discovered that it was malaria that killed 50 children, and who they were calling strange disease. It shows that at the level of the local government, at the level of the villages where some of these things happen, it's disturbing that the primary health care is there to take firm root. And this one issue, and I think we need to look into. Another issue that came up is the 26 of our women that were slaughtered while trying to escape to Italy. Well, the government has tried in the last 1.5 decades to stop trafficking of persons, but once the economic situation in the country do not improve, we will find more and more Nigerians seeking to find greener pastures through whatever means, even when it's condemnable acts they were going there to do, prostitution.
Well, unfortunate that we lost about 50 children to a disease that is very preventable, malaria. You can prevent it, but you can also treat it when it is contracted. But unfortunately, due to the near collapse of our healthcare system, these diseases that are still killing the greatest number of Nigerians. And of course, unfortunately also, the Nigerians that died in Italy, they are between the ages of 14 and 18, teenagers, females. Very unfortunate. Uju Eje is with us in the studio.
Mechi, very, very unfortunate. When I saw the news yesterday, I felt so bad. And why were they going there? They're looking for greener pastures. I think this should tell the government that instead of all this blame game that has been going on for 2.5 years, they really need to get to work. In almost all the sectors have problems. And that's why people are discontented. That's why teenagers would seek to leave the country to go and look for a way of survival, when we know that they can survive here and God has given us everything it takes for us to make it in this country. And then you look at the children that died from malaria, and then we're talking of a situation where people lack the capacity, people in authority lack the capacity to do the work that they have been appointed to do. I think we also need to look at that, because I don't know how difficult it is to diagnose malaria. Even in our villages, our great-grandmothers who didn't go to school, who never went to primary 1, can tell you when it is malaria. They will tell you this is Iba. I don't know why it was so difficult that it had to be looked at as a strange disease. We need to look at the people we put in authorities. We need to work to give Nigerians the dividends of governance. This government should stop the blame game and really, look at the things that are going wrong and tackle it. Because if you blame for 2.5 years, for God's sake, it can't continue like that. And then as for the one of the executive and the legislature, cheering news, yes. And if you also remember that the vice president was at a forum, to discuss about this relationship between the legislature, the budget, the economy, and all of that. And he made, he made a statement yesterday. He said that the bickering between the legislature and the executive has affected the growth of the Nigerian economy. And so it's a good thing that the executive has taken the first step to make sure that this does not continue and the economy really recovers.
What about what is happening in the northeast? We still have women there stranded, and we have children that are malnourished. We look at what is happening even in the south side from Cross River, Bakassi.
Yes.
Nigerian government is not doing anything about it.
Yes.
And I think politicians have a lot to campaign with. They are giving them opportunity. 2019 election is going to be a very, very
We heard that the chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees has come out to dissociate the General Board of Trustees from the action taken by the Southwest BOT in endorsing 3 candidates from the zone and ignoring the other 3.
Amechi, there's this information some persons have been asking. Was it the BOT from the Southwest? No, a few of them. Because I know that I spoke with about 4 of them who said they never knew what was happening. They were not even in the know. So whatever happened was a decision taken by just
a few that just came together.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll share some of your mails that we are getting, compiling your phone numbers. Please always ensure to include your phone numbers on the mails you send to us. We may want to indeed put you live as part of the analysis going on this program.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Good morning, I am Ifeinwa Mobi. You're welcome to the mail segment. Atenekan will be starting off today's mail segment.
All right, and we're getting started with this mail from Collins Eze in Kubwa, Abuja. He writes on President Buhari's draft budget presentation today. The mail reads, Dear crew, I want to commend the federal government, led by President Buhari, for the early presentation of the 2018 draft budget, which takes place today at the National Assembly. However, let the lawmakers try to find out the present condition of the 2017 budget. How much of it has been implemented? How much was borrowed? How much was generated internally? How much was released? To who? And for what purpose? Who are the ones supervising the implementation? And all other sundry questions accompanying budget implementation. I think it's morally right for the National Assembly to demand accountability and details of the budget that passed this year before working on another one for next year. And there is no better time to do that than today. God bless Nigeria.
And in the presidency, Friday Atai in Nyanya Abuja is saying between playing politics and telling the truth. It goes further. With keen interest, I have listened to various comments made by various speakers on different media platforms, as well as on this platform. And having gone through the list of all appointees of the Buhari administration, as released by Femi Adesina, depending on the version of the list, I have come to the conclusion that the spokespersons of the Buhari government always struggle with trying to be politically correct and telling glaring truth. While I will not say in totality they are lying, I will want to stay safe by saying that in order to keep their jobs and justify their paymasters, they will rather look the other way when there is a public outcry against the misdeeds of the government in power. I know that they all mean well for the country, but loyalty to a paymaster that will lead to not telling the Nigerian public what is real is dangerous. Mr. Femi Adesina, among the names of the list released, how many are the direct appointees of this administration? What happened to federal character when appointments were made into the positions of the service chiefs and security agencies? May God help this administration to do well within the time remaining, or else the masses will be forced to vote the other way around in the next election. God bless Nigeria.
And on the activities of Niger Delta Avengers, Eckhart Dixon has written in from Abuja, and he says the announcement of the cancellation of the ceasefire deal by the Niger Delta Avengers is an unfortunate one. But can we completely blame the militants when government has failed to honor its own side of the agreement reached for the ceasefire after 1 year? Can we say the government is sincere with the Ogoni cleanup when the actual work has not commenced after over 2 years of flag-off with all the promises from the federal government through the vice president? Rather than trying to honor the ceasefire deal as the economy is improving, the president is considering the expansion of the Federal Executive Council to cater for politicians and increase government spending. The 1 year ceasefire deal has shown that the Avengers' activities may not be politically motivated. Government should be sincere and show commitment by implementing the agreement reached, as military action may not provide the needed solution. That's the much we can accommodate on the mail segment. Keep sending your mails to politicalplatform@yahoo.com and don't forget to include your number.
Bust it!
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for the mail. So what is the status of the health of former Vice President Alex Ekwueme? There's a strong rumor going around town that he has transited. We can tell you it's just a mere rumor. The former Vice President is alive and kicking. We spoke to a very close family source just a few moments ago, and he confirmed that the former Vice President is doing well. He's still in the hospital in Enugu. His health has improved, and his doctors think for now there is no immediate reason for him to go out of the country. It may, of course, still happen, but for now, he's in a stable condition and would, of course, continue to receive medical attention there. If you recall, he collapsed in his house last week and was rushed to the hospital, but the president announced plans by the federal government to fly him out of the country. But let's start with the budget. The president will be presenting the budget bill to the National Assembly 2 p.m. It's estimated to be around 8.5 trillion naira. That session was preceded by the activities, troubleshooting exercise and mission, I must call it that, by the new Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, opening his stewardship as Secretary to the Government on a friendly note with the National Assembly, and we believe it's the right steps to take. We recall the altercations between the former SGF and the National Assembly, where the former SGF openly criticized constituency projects being put forward by the National Assembly, saying this government will not even look at it, and it was part of the reasons why the presidency, the executive never agreed with the executive. Of course, we were told that part of the reason the SGF went there yesterday was to douse tensions and cool the anger of the legislators who believe that the executive has refused over the past 2 years, 2016 and 2017 budget, to fund their constituency project. Well, it's a big issue. What form of input should the legislators make in the budget? They always tell us they have constituencies, that they also need to attract development to their constituencies, while the executive, they also accuse the executive of wanting to take everything for themselves.
Well, Amechi, it just stands to reason that if you are in power, if you're elected, you want to better the lives, of your people, because your people look up to you. My own quarrel would be if they try to fund these things directly, or if they want the fund to come to them directly, which is not the case, because their own input is to determine what kind of projects they would want in their constituency and where it should be cited, and then the executive is the one that handles the funds that executes it at times through the MDG or now SDG projects. So I do not see anything inordinate in that, because every man wants good for his people. But it shouldn't be done in a selfish way, and it should go round.
The problem is that the legislators want local government projects, state government projects to be funded by federal purse. I mean, that's where the problem lies. And
no. The constituency projects are not funded by the National Assembly budget.
No, the national budget.
Yes, by the national budget. It's the normal thing. They normally come under either the quick win projects or the SDG projects. That's where they are situated, and these are projects that are meant for the rural areas where their constituencies are also situated. So there's really nothing out of the ordinary, because the quick win projects would always be there. The other projects too, the SDGs, would always be there. What they want is, let it be that I am the one that attracted this to my people. Of course, you know why? Because of electoral gains.
The problem with the executive is that it accuses the legislature of bringing up local government and state projects, while itself also embarks on local government and state projects. The federal government will want to build or rehabilitate primary health care, which is a local or state government thing, or even a borehole. They intervene in these areas on their own. Then when the legislators bring their own, they begin to quarrel.
Well, I think there are so many aberrations that we have been identifying in course of this Fourth Republic, which were not noticeable in the previous republic, first, second. It's not as if the lawmakers or the parliamentarians in the First Republic don't attract projects to their constituencies, but the way it has become pronounced in this Fourth Republic is worrisome for me. For instance, there was an instance in 2007 where a federal lawmaker attracted borehole to a local government, and it was sunk
in his house. Directly in his house. In Kogi State.
So is that one a priority of the federal government? And I will tell you no.
They put billboard to claim they are the ones
that attracted it to the place.
No, they even funded it.
So when we are calling when there is these current agitations for restructuring and devolution of power, these are projects that should be either be saddled with the local government or the state government. The totality of it is that if lawmakers can attract projects to their constituencies, what of other Nigerians who do not have presence in the National Assembly? And the totality of it is that lawmakers are representatives of the people. So if we have priority, national priorities should be the guiding principle in terms of projects that will be executed in each fiscal year. Not to drink pit latrine. Go and dig quick latrine or provide borehole and all the sort of things that they are now advocating for. There is the totality of it, that there is no properly defined policy direction for the national budgets, and I think that should be the concern of everybody.
Amechi, I still think I would like to agree with Bodurin for what he has said, because these lawmakers, we need to spell out their duties. They are the representatives of their people, They are the eyes and the ears and the mouthpiece of their people. They need to do their job as representatives, because if they begin to go into constructing borehole and carrying the media to cover it that they have constructed borehole that does not even cost up to $500,000 naira, and that becomes a project that we should be clapping for them. They over the years, I have seen that the lawmakers, what they do is towards election period, you see them going to their constituencies. Ask them if they have offices in their constituencies. Ask them if they have where people can take complaints. Just a few of them can tell you, yes, I do have staff in my constituency, but they rather stay in this Abuja, and at the end of the day, they want to lobby and take projects to their communities or to their constituency, even to their bedroom, because they want their people to vote for them. They should do the work of representing the people. Let them represent the people properly.
I think that we're mixing up a few things here. Ijoma, if I understand you very well, what you're talking about, there are two different things between the constituency projects that they want captured in the budget and the type you're talking about. Those ones are their own personal donations to their communities, the ones they want to do to say, I did this, vote for me. They're two different things. Of course, it distracts them from their job of lawmaking at times, but you see, our electoral process has become so monetized and so derailed that people, if you do not do these things for them, they would not see you as being worthy of their votes. And so the lawmakers have somewhat been dragged into these things, and everybody wants to be re-elected, and so they are all doing it. And as for the constituency offices, I believe strongly that the Nigerian electorate is so advanced today that they can no longer be hoodwinked. All of them are struggling to have constituency offices because they have seen what happened to those who tried not to have it in the past.
It's the responsibility of the citizens at every constituency to hold their lawmakers accountable for the refusal to open up, of course, constituency offices. It is the primary responsibility of legislators to make money, make laws, and of course they do oversight, but they are also open to lobby for projects and other benefits to their communities. But let's take you to Anambra State, where of course the governorship election is barely 2 weeks away. November 18 will be, of course, it will be in Anambra Live to give you updates as the voters there decide and pick who their next governor should be. But from today, we shall be giving you periodic updates and developments in Anambra State. And we have now on the line, of course, from Anambra State, our man Ken, who's right there on ground. Thank you so much for joining us. So what is it like in Anambra? The campaigns that were apparently heating up?
Yes, really the campaigns are heating up, and I can tell you that the campaign is very robust. The candidates are now moving into the local areas where they may have not been since the past 2-3 years. But everybody has seen that it is not an easy journey to elect who is going to occupy the government house by November 18. The campaigns are going really local. They have left the usual gatherings at local government headquarters or campaign grounds or rally grounds. They are now embarking on house-to-house, door-to-door, one-on-one campaigns with the voters, the electorate.
Would you say it's a three-horse race between the ABGA, the PDP, and the APC? Are there some other parties out of the 37, record 37, that may spring surprises?
Yeah, I mean, to the onlooker, somebody who is watching from outside Anambra, you may think it is only going to be a three-horse race for APC, ABGA, and PDP. But I can tell you that any surprise can pull any of these candidates, especially two other front runners, the candidate of the UPP and the candidate of the PPA. They might just be other dogs that can pull surprises anywhere. But why it appears that as if the three major key parties, the APC, the ABGA, and PDP, are the ones that are pulling the weight, is because the three candidates are actually from the Anambra North Senatorial Zone or Senatorial District, where it is expected by zoning arrangement that the power should be there. But considering the politics of Nigeria, the way it is going, anybody can pull surprises. Don't forget that little unknown former Governor P2B, during his first tenure, when he came in, he was relatively unknown. His party was relatively unknown, but he had so much robust campaign. I remember the billboards that spotted Anambra then, where P2B was saying, is Anambra cost or are we cost?
Ken,
that was a robust campaign, and he influenced a lot of things.
Ken, yes, yesterday there were what I would describe as verbal attacks, specifically between the APC and the ruling party in the state, ABGA, and it was allegations and counter allegations that some of them, that the two parties were accusing each other of importing massive electoral materials into the state. And my reading of it is that the APC is tying its campaign to the incumbency at the center, while ABGA is tying his own to the incumbency at the state level. What is really happening?
What is happening is that it has been in the realms of speculation that there has been massive importation of or printing of fake electoral materials, which both the police in Anambra and the resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Anambra State have since denied. It is not new in campaign periods in Anambra State. If you recall that during the re-election bid of former Governor P2B, this same allegation came up from then National Chairman of ABGA at a press conference. So it is not new. We expect even more of such issues to come up. It is like a campaign strategy to say one party is planning to rig the election. Yeah.
You talked about a zoning arrangement, but of course you're aware that different political parties have their own zoning formula. Are you talking generally or just for those three political parties?
That is what I'm saying, that zoning may not really be the issue. Anambra voters may go for the best candidate. They may go not even on party basis. They might be looking at the credentials and credibilities of the individual candidates, and that might be the determining factor here. Don't forget that PDP has been in power in Nigeria for over 16 years, but yet it wasn't in power in Anambra State. ABGA has been in power for the past 11 years, but we know that incumbency, the recent times, has not been working in the elections in Nigeria. And APC at the center may want to pull its strength as the power at the central government.
Okay.
But it's not the electorate are the ones to determine
we must have to thank you, Nana Ken Eseni, for your contributions. And in the days to come, we'll have to rely on you to give us updates as the date gets near.
You are welcome.
Nana Eseni, our man in the southeast, of course, already in Anambra State for blue by blue account of things that are going on there. Thanks for being part of today's edition. On behalf of the crew, my name is Amechi Anakwe. Be a good citizen and have a wonderful day.
Bust it.